Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another exciting episode of 3D Shenanigans. So exciting that you could all make it. Very nice on another, what is it, Saturday? And Steve is here as well. That's amazing. We have Joe, we have Steve, we have Brian, we've got Christina, we've got Rod. This is exciting. And anyone else who's watching, thank you so much for dropping by. I have exciting news. Like always, we make up reasons to celebrate, don't we? And I'm personally not celebrating the Super Bowl today. I guess that's we're going to have doing that tomorrow. Today, something very exciting has happened. Two samples have arrived from a company that I've put an order in the other day, and it is in this blue box here. I can show it to you now. And my reason for celebrating is, of course, the official launch of us going exclusively to Twitch. And I thought, what's better to commemorate the occasion than to do that with the official WP Guru coffee mug. Do we have applause? Come on, where's applause? Applause. Maybe this one. Yeah, that's applause. There we go. The official WP Guru coffee mug. The light blows it out a little bit. Let me just put that down a bit like so. Look at that. Spotlight. Awesome. On both sides, good for hot chocolate, for cocoa, for coffee, for literally cold beverages, for literally anything. Nothing in there right now, but I've got, I thought you'd say that, Steve. I've got two of them and they look absolutely marvelous. I thought I'd try them out. This is a company called Teespring and I've picked them because they have these wonderful integrations. There we go. You can celebrate with us. They have these wonderful integrations with YouTube and Twitch and with other services that kind of automatically pull in your merch or your swag into, what we're doing. So I thought in order to celebrate this, I'm going to send some of those mugs to some of you. Higher tier Patreon supporters are definitely going to get one. Anyone else will have to wait a little bit because the link isn't quite live yet to where one can purchase such an item, but there we go. Yes, Teespring, that's them. Swag, exactly. So yes, that's my exciting news. I've got my second one is in fact full of that hot beverage I was talking about. Look at that. It is hot. So there we go. Soon there'll be a link. And yes, this is my surprise for today. And yes, I thought it's about time I get a mug. I like coffee. There we go. That's that. I was going to do more Octane stuff today. My original plan earlier this morning, and you know how plans changed throughout the day, I was going to do an animation in Octane using DAZ Studio. And I've played around with it and it was cool, but then it turns out that I needed something else and I thought maybe I'll do that together with y'all, and that is something Blender related. I have tried my hand at that more or less unsuccessfully. Well, it's half successfully. It was for a YouTube video I was going to make, and that is I was introducing the video and I needed about 20 seconds of some interesting visuals that kind of spell out what I'm talking about. And a little bit like what we did with Christina's logo with the B Tracer animation. It's similar to that. It's another suggestion from Stephen Scott. Hello, Stephen, in case you're watching. Your channel is awesome, by the way. Very cool, very cool. Good to have you on YouTube and good for you to make YouTube videos for Blender. I love that. I love all of them. There's a suggestion that he made and it was text effects. And that is something I've tried out, and that can kind of randomize text. Let me show you what I mean. And let me show you my earlier attempt at that. He has over 5,000. Indeed, yes, I saw that. It's kind of crazy. It's so cool in such a short amount of time. So this, actually, I've already got it open here, I believe. Is it this? Yes, this is it. So this is an attempt that didn't quite work out because it's going quite fast, but you can kind of see what this thing is doing. So let me just go put this on repeat and then we'll watch it a few times. I have several versions of this. So it creates a text object in Blender and you give it a duration and it scrambles up the letters, and then as the timeline progresses it kind of switches out the letters. It can do all kinds of other stuff. It can do like a typewriter effect. It can do a countdown effect. And all these things are editable text objects. And I think that is quite exciting. And it's a free add-on. I believe it comes with Blender already. It just needs to be activated, I think. Or maybe does it need to be installed? I don't remember. I do apologize, I don't remember. I think it may have to be installed. But I want to do something like this for a trailer that I've literally just recorded earlier. And it is basically telling everyone on YouTube that I'm going to do live streams on Twitch from now on. And the reasons for that. Just a 3-4 minute thing. I'm also talking about the archive channels. And I thought it'd be nice to just end that video with a 10-second animation that writes this out, not so much with the camera pan, but just writes out twitch.tv/WP Guru. And that is what I'm trying to make today. And I'm trying to make this in purple. We'll play around with materials a little bit, but yes, this is in essence what I'm trying to do. Let's go and do that. The waffles I had for breakfast, yes, the Eggo waffle t-shirt, it gets nice comments every once in a while when I'm out. It gets interesting comments. When Stranger Things was on Netflix, that was very popular. People were literally saying all kinds of things to me, and they're all appreciative. You know, that's very nice. So let's see if I can remember how to do that. We have to install it. Right, okay, thanks for letting me know, Christina. If you have the link handy, drop it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the comments on this video as well. I just forgot how to actually get it into Blender. So we'll delete our friend, the default cube. I'm sad to say. I like using it for things, but I think we'll go delete it for now. And I think I'm gonna just see if I can remember the steps here. I thought at first we create a text object and then we fiddle with that, but that's not the case. That's not how we do that. We go straight into the side panel here. Once the add-on is activated, it comes up here with its own thing, which is text effects. So now that I'm doing this, I remember that I wanted to program my Stream Deck so that I can zoom into the corners and the portions of the screen. I forgot to do it. I'm so sorry, but that is the plan going forward, so that when I talk about something like a panel that needs a little bit of extra explanation, then we don't just have the static thing. I can then go and zoom into that portion so that it's easier to see on smaller screens. Code of art, that's it exactly. Oh, Joe, that is so nice of you to say. Thank you so much. I love making you laugh. I love making everyone laugh. I genuinely like making the world a better place. And I appreciate all of you coming here today and, you know, celebrating this occasion with me. Every occasion that we're alive and together and happy, that's a good occasion to celebrate. We don't need excuses. We don't need official Twitch launches or ceramic mugs with the WP Guru logo on it to be happy. We're happy. That's, you know, we're coming together. And this is reason enough to celebrate. So, we click on add text. We have two options, simple and advanced. And I think advanced is something that is really cool, but it's a bit over my head, I must say. So for what I'm doing, I'm going to use the simple option. Thank you, Joe. Very nice of you to say. And it now creates text. So I believe none is currently, so this is now the text object that's created with this, though I didn't use Shift A and then put a text object in here. I didn't do that. This just happens because I added a new text object via this panel here. Currently it's set to none, so nothing much will happen, but we will tweak that in a moment. Let me just set the scene up. I can now utilize this as a regular text object. So there's text here. I can go and say RX90 to put that upright and have a look at that. And I'm going to frame that up in a moment. I'm also, in order to actually change this text, I do not go into edit mode and change it that way. I don't do that. So I'll go out of edit mode again. I'm going to go and change this here into the effect I'd like text effect to create. So in my case, it's a scramble. So there's typewriter and increment. We can try all of them out and see what works here. But scramble is the one I'd like to use. So do that. I'll zoom out a little bit, and this is now the scramble text. This is not what I've typed, but this text here, that is what this will become eventually as we slide the timeline forward. Observe, please, like in a Jackie Chan movie. As you play it, the random scramble text becomes this text, which is awesome. I love that. It's such a cool way to put scramble text on the screen without having to resort to anything like After Effects. And of course, these things are a proper text object, so they will react to light. We can extrude them, we can put a bevel on the edges and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's exciting. So if I wanted to change this text here, then I type that in here. I'm excited, Steve. I'm excited. This is really cool. And I'm going to type, so like anything will go. And then this is going to become anything. And when we play this, it just goes and whoops, that was the wrong button there. That counts in, for as long as we want. So I can make this count longer. I've tried something along the lines of 100. That took a little bit of time. I think it depends on how long the actual text is that we're going to write out. But if I wanted to try 100, then I can change the duration here. So set that to higher. And then it just takes a lot longer for this thing to make sense. So perhaps I'm thinking perhaps 80 is something nice to go by. And notice that this is only the duration of the text effects, not the duration of my actual animation, which is still set to the default 250. So I think, how am I going to do this? If I'm thinking of 30 frames a second, and I'd like for this whole sting thing to be maybe 10 seconds, that's probably a good idea, about 8 to 10 seconds. Perhaps I'm going to use 250, perhaps I'm going to use 300 as a total animation duration, but that's only so that I can mess around with the camera. So just like before, I think I'm going to have the background in black, this in kind of purple, counting out, and the camera kind of zooming in gently, mustn't touch the microphone, zooming in gently to that until it fills the screen. That's the plan. That's the plan. We should be able to do this in about an hour. Yeah, let's try it, shall we? Let's try it. So let's first of all type what we'd like to see here so that we get an impression of it. It's going to be a fairly long URL. So I'll say it's twitch.tv/WP Guru. I know, it'll be like 4 hours or something like that. See, this is much longer than I had anticipated already. Also, it's a good idea to now already get the font correct. Should I do this in capitals and lowercase, like a mixture? Oop. Fire engine is already on its way. Could do that, lowercase, like that. Or I can do it like that. They're coming for me. What do you think? What are your thoughts? I'm thinking capitalizing it. Lower and upper combined. Yeah, me too. I think I'll leave it that way. Let's do that. So capital T and then just WP Guru kind of. It just makes it visually a little bit more interesting. And then of course we want this not to be in B font. We'd like for this to be in, in Days 1 font, my special font. It's too hot here. That's right. It's too cold where you are, Rod, and it's too hot where I am. I'm only joking. It's not too hot here. I had to put a sweater on today. Can you believe it? That's that's January. It's February. Oh, it's February already. That was now the reference that you made yesterday, Steve, makes more sense to me. For you, it was already the 1st of February. For me, it wasn't. But now it is, and now it's kind of humming on there. Goma, haven't seen you in a while. Hello, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Very nice. We're building a little animation today in Blender, namely this one here, one that goes like that. You see, maybe 80 is still a little bit too long. We'll see what happens on the final thing. Let's go deal with the font thing. So that's on the font property here, and it's not actually. What am I talking about? It's is it even selected here? Font. There we go. Yes, that's it. So open the regular thing, and here's my list of fonts into which I've copied. This is Windows fonts, and I've copied Days 1 into this directory many times. And whenever I restart my computer, Windows, I don't know, deletes it or whatnot. I don't know. I've given up, so I'm gonna just go into my downloads folder where the Days 1 font is. Thank you for Brian for reminding me of that, by the way. There. That's the Days 1 Subnautica font, and that looks kind of groovy now. I think maybe in 60 frames, it's actually enough for this to be rendered in 60 frames. But we can change that later, no problem. Do you know, this morning at about 7 a.m. I was watching some of the earlier streams from this season, from season 2, and it is remarkable what we've made there together. Like the first stream of season 2 was the cinema animation for the title sequence, and it is just so cool to see the first animatic in comparison to what we have now. That is just unbelievable. The constant, chipping, just sticking with it and doing bit by bit. It just made this whole so nice. And yeah, it's just, I was touched by that. But that's not the reason why I watched it. I just watched a few of them sporadically, like for 5-10 minutes, just to get an impression of was the quality ever really good? And sadly, via Restream, it never really was. I'm sad to say this, because there were always some dropouts, and when I'm in full vision, it's more noticeable than when we have a full screen, but it is noticeable, and it was getting on my nerves. And when I watched yesterday's stream back, I've noticed that there were no such disturbances, and I think it was a really good decision to go to Twitch. Just quality-wise, I know what Captain Slaymore was saying when he saw the direct transmission. He was saying, "Hey, this looks awesome," and now I understand what he means. So, Captain, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Let's extrude the font a little bit, and that is under geometry, I believe, and nothing too big, but like chunky. Is that too chunky? No, it's chunky. That's good. I'm also going to bevel this. It is, isn't it, Christina? Yes, absolutely. It's just the quality is just something. Yeah, it's just there's no, even with my limited bandwidth that I still have, hoping that after the Super Bowl it's going to calm down a little bit. It's just a different ball game, if you forgive the pun. There, just a little bit of a bevel. Or do you like the more rounded edges? What do you think? More rounded? Or less rounded? Yes, Steve, that's true. Exactly. It's just experience gained. Let me know what you think. That's easy to change. We don't even have to turn this into... oh, I can? Offset to a negative there. Oh, and then it goes like that. Ah, Christina. How exciting. Then this makes it fatter and less fat. Overweight font. Oh, nice one. What happens if I go set the extrusion to a negative value? Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? No, it wouldn't make sense, would it? There, I think maybe that's nice. Chunkiness. I see what you mean. So we could do that, and then we can do the offset to something like that. I like it. I like it. Oh, it set a keyframe here. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, very funny, very funny. We're going to put that keyframe here. So now we have the extrusion say, no, we don't. Oh my goodness, have I accidentally selected a keyframe here? Let me go and get rid of that. Let me do all of this on frame 1 instead, or frame 0 rather. I think it was 0.12, was it? Yeah. Or thereabouts, or was it even more? Yeah, that's more. More is more. There we go. Tomorrow, no, I don't think I'll be on tomorrow. I'm afraid, because I have to work. My day job is asking for me. I believe many people will be ordering stuff while they're watching the game, or just before they're watching the game, where they've forgotten, hey, we need 3 extra 6-packs of beer or something, and I'll be the man to get them for them. So I won't be here tomorrow, I'm afraid. I think I won't use the negative offset value, only because I think I'm used to looking at the font this way. I think the thing changes the font a bit too much. I may leave the rounded edges, so But again, it's a minor detail. I just love this effect. This is very, very cool. Oh, set the bevel higher, keep it, okay. There's so many options on there. The good thing is, I'm going to just go put the scene together so that we have a basic thing to work with. The lovely thing about text effects is that I don't have to make a final decision now because it's all changeable. So I don't ever have to turn this into actual geometry, which is very cool. Let's go closest to actually, let's go into here. Let's go have a look through the camera and frame up the camera here on frame 1. So I'm envisioning something that we see the whole thing to begin with. And then we'll just go and zoom in. So this could be a good first frame. I might just go and keyframe that like so and so. And then as we reach frame 300 or 250, something like that, I'll be, oops. I'll be here, something like that. That could work. There, I'm thinking. That's a good keyframe. So select the camera and then just go eye and eye. And it does this. That's kind of okay. We see this counting down and then we just go and move in there. So I always, when these camera pans happen, I always get the feeling that the actual font stays kind of at this in the middle here is a bit too far on the bottom left there. So I think I'm going to add another keyframe somewhere in the middle. I'll just use 120. I might change that later, and go and select this, select the camera, actually select this and go move that here just as a little intermediate keyframe there. And then the text appears to be more central to the screen. I think I also might like to add some other text elements above or below. So I may just change the, might as well do that here, the Z location of the camera, like just like this, so that it's not quite in the center, it's like slightly higher above on that last keyframe. Boom, there. Do you know, Joe, that might actually be an interesting way of doing it. Watch the Super Bowl on TV and then have a kind of reaction live stream in the corner separately to that. It's like watching it together, maybe. Yeah, sadly I'm working, so I don't think I can make it. Depending on what we do with the light, I might put some dramatic lights in there that cast some shadows to the front. I might push the first frame a little bit to the back, but let's go and save this now, just so that we don't run into any funny business here. Blender files, and we'll create a new directory. We'll call it Twitch. How's that? That's a good project title, isn't it? So go in here and we'll say Twitch FX. How's that? I think that's a great project title. Twitch FX. Twitch FX1. There we go. Then we know what's going down. So let's work on the lighting now that we've saved this. I'm thinking I can probably get away with doing this in Eevee. See what it looks like already. Well, you know. We probably need a plane as well, so that we have a bit of a ground here. Oh, I framed it up so that it's not quite in the center of the screen, but that's okay. That's probably okay. 10, maybe we're going to go with 100, so that we've got a really large plane there. That's good. I might leave the light. I mean, I might use the light and turn it into spotlight. Much like we set up Christina's logo, I think I like that lighting in there. I'll put one from here. I'll put that slightly lower so that we get a dramatic thing from here, and then another dramatic thing from the back. So fairly low, the whole thing. Yeah, something like that. Maybe even lower. Oh, when we make it lower, it gets the cone gets a bit smaller. But that might be alleviated by just putting another light on the other side. I might do that, equidistant on the other side of this. I might do that. And there's also the blend. Yeah, let's make that a bit softer here. That might be nice. So we're going to call that one light front right, like so. Oh yes, Rod, I was thinking about that. I was thinking if you need any help getting this going, do let me know. Shall I make an instance of the light, or shall I make a full copy? What are the votes here? Yeah, full copy, yes. Thank you, Steve. And that's, remind me, that's Shift D, right? That's a full copy. And Control D is an instance. That's how it works, right? Or was it the other way around? I think it's Shift D for something like Shift D for copy. Hello, Chris. How you doing? Good to see you. Shift D, Enter, G, Shift Z. I could install screencast keys one day. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? GX. So we can do the equidistant thing, and then we go RZ 180. Nearly. RZ. Play it right here. Yeah, I might bring both lights a little bit higher in a moment, just so that the light cone gets a bit bigger. So like that, if I go select both of them, GZ, just make it do like that. That could be cool. That could be nice. We'll deal with intensity in a moment once we put colors on this. I think there's just one other light that I'd like to place. I might make the front ones fairly low in intensity, and then I have a really bright backlight that gives us a nice strong shadow on the front here. That's the plan anyway. I might just use one of these lights, or I might create a new one. Let's create a new one. So Shift A, make another spotlight, and there it is. And fairly low. I could have really put that in the center of the scene, but I didn't do that. One of those things. Trying to put it kind of in the behind the middle of the object, and rotate. I guess this is the X by 90. No, it's not. It's the X by minus 90. Oops, no. RX minus 90. There we go. To begin with, RX a little bit further down like that. GZ go kind of here. Groovy. And now this needs to be like strong. and that needs to also have a much wider kind of, you know, thing like that, I believe. And we can just about see the shadow coming in here. I just want to intensify that. So I'll go and call that backlight. Yes, Rod, it is technically possible to stream with SLR cameras, but sometimes drivers aren't, you know, sometimes they drop into either really low resolution, or it just it doesn't want to work with OBS. You might be better off just getting a webcam from Logitech, either the C922 or the C930E. Those are good cameras. I can send you a couple of links later. They are good. I use both of them. The C930 is a little bit wider, so I think its angle of view, I believe they call it, is about 90 degrees, whereas the C922 and the C920, those are all kind of the same family. They are, I think I've got one here that I can show you. They are 75 degrees, so they're a little bit more zoomed in. There is a cable attached here, but I have it. Look at that. I have it. This is it. So this is the C920, a little bit dusty. C922 actually, that I was just talking about. One webcam looking at the other. Oh, very cool. And the C930E looks exactly the same. Also comes with a little privacy cover if you're into that. It does have a built-in microphone, but I would not recommend to use that. I mean, it's, you know, when the microphone is further away from you, it's not, you know, you can use it, but it's not awesome. It also has a proper tripod mount on which I've put a plate for my tripod for this little kind of, you know, handheld, or kind of, you know, gorilla pod it is. For things when I'm explaining things, it sits on the desk, and then this points down and I can hold a gadget underneath it. That's how it works. So it's a regular tripod mount in there. It's super light, and they go for between $50 and $80. Good investment. I'll send you my affiliate link later. No, it's a good camera. I wouldn't recommend it if it wouldn't be a good camera. And there was an earlier model of this that was called the C920. That's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit, but you can still get it. About $30 maybe. That's true. Good point, Chris. The Logitechs are really good at encoding, and they just work flawlessly with OBS. So it's literally plug in, use them in OBS. There's all kinds of options that you can manually control the exposure without having to jump through any hoops. So there's also Chinese knockoffs for about $20 to $30, of course. They will also do the trick because they're fakes, like what fakes are. It's just how it works, isn't it? So, but yes, have a look at Micro Center. They'll probably have some on offer. And if you can find the C930, that's nice. They can be close to you and still give you a wider frame of view. It's nothing worse than having a webcam that you have to put close to you, and then you have like the cutout of your face like this, and you go, yeah, it's difficult to frame it up. So anyway. I'm looking forward to your first stream, Rod. Have you decided where you're going to do it? Is it going to be YouTube? Is it going to be on Twitch? Is it going to be with Restream? So many questions. Where was I? I'm tweaking. This one is the left, right. I'm going to totally tweak that word first of all. Front, right, left, front, right, right. Light front light, my goodness, that was light front left. That's what I meant to write, I believe, right? Yeah, that's left. Cool. Is it left or is it camera left? Oh my god, I'm getting confused. Probably on Twitch. Awesome. Yeah, that's good. I can host you. We can raid each other. It's gonna be good. So those lights, I'm gonna make them lower in intensity. I'll just try 500. Had I had an instance, it would be easy to change one value. Now I have to change two values, but that's okay too. We're nearly there anyway. So I like the shadow. I like what I'm beginning to see here. I think it's not quite intense enough, but we're gonna worry about that in the final render. There's also the materials. They're now all gray. We're going to take care of that. I'm just looking at the sharpness of the shadow, because that is dictated by the blend, I believe, of this. If I make that, no, it's not. It's the size, isn't it? It's the size of the spotlight that will radius. There we go. Is that what does the trick? It is not what does the trick. Yeah, it is. It is what does the trick. Can I make that 0? Really? I didn't know I could do that. How can the spotlight have a radius of 0 degrees? That gives me a very sharp shadow. That's kind of what I'm after. And as I increase the radius, shadows get a bit softer. Maybe 0.2. Maybe I like that. And blend, I'm going to increase the blend actually, so just so that this isn't too harsh at the back here. Make the radius a bit smaller again. They will influence each other, don't they? Yeah. Right, I see. Right, like a point of light. And we also need to maybe not so much worry about the font, but while I'm looking at this, I'm going to go and drop the plane down ever so slightly. Oops, so GZ, so that we can see all letters, even letters that I'm not using, that randomizer will be using. So I might just go drop that down to here. That'll in turn have an effect on the framing. So what I find so super cool, whoops, about this add-on is that I can now go and literally these things, they change while I move them. They're full 3D objects, so the shadows and everything is going to interact with all that. It's going to be very cool. I love it. Let's save this here. Oh, if you want to play around with this yourself, I will make the final scene available to my Patreon supporters. So you'll get the scene file that we're creating here. If you want to have a look at it, if you have any questions about the lighting, you can delve into the blend file and have a look at it. I'll post the link up on Patreon later. So let's have a look maybe at the materials. Shall we just make the materials a little bit just black? Woohoo! Yeah, like black, I'm thinking. I'd like the font here to be purple. So let's start with the background and make that dark. First of all, so the plane to begin with. I'll create, oh, that was a texture. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's not worry about it. Let's go and create this, call it black. Yes, that's it, isn't it? So we go and just change the base color, not to a total black, even though that's probably, that might be nice. I always like staying away from extreme values, so just maybe something like a dark gray. That's more something I'm looking for. So perhaps like a 0.1, and I'll do the same. This is just the regular shader now, isn't it? Yeah, so principled. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd do something fancy, could maybe do a gloss shader, or maybe I'll actually leave this as principled, and then maybe I'll use the gloss shader for the text here, for the font. I might do that. So here, and I'll call that one just purple. Because Twitch is purple, of course. So purple is, I don't know the exact hex value of Twitch's purple. It's around here somewhere. We can probably find out the exact hex purple of the Twitch purple. If you can do that for me, let me know, then I'll use the exact hex value. And then also this here, I might make this a gloss shader. Oh, that's something I've seen in, who was it? Christoph Werner, German guy. Excellent Blender tutorials. Highly recommended. Christoph Werner's YouTube channel. Very cool. Whoa, oh my God, we have two conflicting values. I like it. We'll try both of them, see which one works best. He was using Node Wrangler. Christina, you've talked about Node Wrangler a lot. I've never looked at it because it's one of those things I really need to be in the mood for that. But he had that Node Wrangler, he had just like casually in passing, he mentioned this, that you've got this shader here, principled BSDF, and rather than deleting this and putting a different shader in and recreating some of the parameters, Node Wrangler has this option that you exchange the shader. That is so cool. I thought that was unbelievable. We have, oh, okay. So Steve and Christina say it's 6441A5. No, actually, Steve and Brian say that. Christina says it's a different one. It's 2 against 1. Interesting. Okay, perfect. We'll use Steve and Brian's suggestion. No problem. Thank you. So yes, there was an option that you can literally change this shader into another one. So because me and my limited knowledge, I'd have to go Shift A and then search for, or like have a look at a shader. Maybe I'll use a glossy one and then I put that in here. And so this is now the glossy one rather than the principled one. And now I would change this to a hex value of 6441A5. Oh, the Twitch purple. Yes, I like that better. And then I would just go and do that. Yes, there we go. Now it's glossy. I can do the roughness and all that. But I would love to find out how I can use Node Wrangler to literally just make that change quickly. So I leave this dangling around here just in case I want to go back to the other one. There. Lock in the same value. We can see which one looks better. So let's leave that there. I might actually tweak the, can you imagine we can turn this into an emission shader? I can put it, oh, that's a good idea. This could emit. How about that? Just make it glow a little bit. Oh, let's do that. That is just so cool. Let's do that. I love it. I can then even mix it together with the glossy shader. Could do glass shader. Man, the stuff we can do. Let's do the emission shader first. Emission. Emit this, baby. There we go. That's cool. And I'll just try and connect that to, I'll connect that to that. It's emission a little bit much here, so 0.5 is probably enough. No, it's still too much. 0.1. Yeah, I think maybe what we need is emission plus the glossy shader, I'm thinking, or that and the principled shader, which is what keeping the guy around here. So let's go and have a mix shader, put that in here, put that, no, you go here, you go there, and then we have best of both worlds. So now I think I can tone the emission to something like that, and then I can play around with whichever direction I want to go. I don't want to lose the definition of the font. Wow, they have an encyclopedia page. That's exciting. I didn't even know that existed, Steve. That's very cool. So ideally, I could also, if I wanted to, I could put a proper material on this, but because it doesn't have UVs, I don't know how that's gonna work. So we'll see if this is actually readable or not. So that's obviously, we want this to be readable. Yeah, I might make this a bit lighter to begin with. So I'll retain the actual Twitch color, but I might make this just a bit lighter. Yeah, actually that I'm gonna leave as it was. Let's deal with the, do we have to deal with the background? We can do. I think that's in here. Yeah, we can do that here too. Maybe actually we can do that here. Just go use nodes and just use a color of 0.1. In fact, 0 there. Oop. My phone's popping up messages here. So I may just increase the front lights a little bit more again. Now that I'm looking at this whole concoction, maybe 500 would have been better. Yeah, look at that. That actually brings this out a bit better. And we still see the shadow, and we can read the font a bit better. Okay. So what do you think? What are your first thoughts? This is certainly readable. I like it. I might move the backlight a bit further. I might even animate it, only because on the last picture, on the last frame of the animation, it might be good to have that light somewhere else. So I can just put that back a little bit. That might be nice, so that we have the letters stand out against the white instead of the black. So we can put the light to begin here, I'm thinking. It is hard to read. I totally agree, Christina. Yes, I'm gonna see what happens when we put the backlight further here. So then you have this type of background color going back to about here. So we'll see how that works. Then the other thing I'm thinking about is the animation itself. So I wonder if it's going to be more beneficial to have the animation finish here and then the camera zoom continues, or shall we have the thing animate while we zoom to about here, to about frame 160? Because that would kind of make it interesting to follow this along. From frame 0, bring the text in from the horizon towards the viewer. That's a possibility. Let me see what would happen if while we're on the last frame, if we're on the backlight, if I go and move that, I guess that's the Y, whoops, the Y direction. If I go and move that, oh my goodness, that's not what we want, is it? That's totally not what we want. Perhaps if I do move it further up, I suppose I'll lose the nice shadows there. I mean, or the other option that I have is that I just that I move it like that. That's a possibility too. What does that look like? And then if I go do something with the backlight, like move it in the Y direction. Oops. Tell me what you mean by that. From frame 0, bring the text in from the horizon towards the viewer. Do you want me to? Are you saying we're gonna keep this essentially and just bring the text forward? We could do that. Just basically like physically move the text. That's a possibility. Yeah, I think we need the text could be lighter, it could be brighter, I'm thinking. Oh, we're actually only using, oh, there we go. We're only using, we didn't mix in the emission. It's also not quite emitting the way I like it, actually. So the emission shader wasn't actually active. That's probably because I should have potentially used the principal BSDF instead. So we can do that. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what. Thank you, Blender. You've just made that by yourself. That's very nice. So, and then that's not actually the base color. That's not what I meant. It is, well, we can use that as the base color like that. And then we also use that as the emission, don't we? I don't really know why that's turning pink now. It's not what we're giving it. Or is it because the emission thing is in here? Could be. I don't really know why that is. Why that is pink. Crazy. Is it maybe because this needs to be white? I say white. No, that's not why it is. That might, Chris, that is actually a very good point. I didn't think of that. It may well be. I was going to do this in Eevee, but let's change it over to cycle. See what, yeah, look at that. It's very good point. Thank you, Chris, for bringing that to my attention. I didn't even think of that. The emissive does not work necessarily in Eevee. I see. So then in, that's a very good point. My goodness, Chris, thank you so much. So let's get rid of the BSDF again and just put it back together just the way I had it. Just for a laugh here. Put that in here. That we don't really need anymore. How do I get rid of that? There. So that's just the glossy, and this is just the emission. Oh, but the, oh yeah, because strength is 0, isn't it? So that's just the emission. Oh, it looks the same. It looks the same. So Eevee wasn't actually bad in this case. It's just not the effect I'm kind of looking for. Is this any better? It isn't, is it? It's exactly the same. Yeah. I'm not as happy as I wanted to be at this point, having only 10 minutes left of making the whole animation. So that didn't work, doing that in an hour. It never does it? Oh yes, and what happens? Oh yeah, this also needs to be GPU, I guess. That might help with performance a bit. Yeah, and then in Eevee we get this again. But okay, we know how to correct the colors. Let's not worry about the colors. I want to follow your advice, Steve. So let me see if I get this right. At frame 0, align the view with the horizon, then animate the camera towards the viewer. So that would mean I'd have to, I could do this with a, let me do this with a second camera maybe. So you're saying that if the camera were here, literally looking straight ahead at this, I would then just go move the camera towards it. Is that what you're saying? I don't want to change the keyframes of the camera that I currently have. So I'll go and just create another one. Right, okay, let's see if that works. Camera, I'll call that camera Steve, so that we can, I'll call this one camera J, and the other one's camera Steve. That's cool. So let's make this one the active object, if I can remember how to do that. I always forget if it's here, cameras, set active object as camera. That's the one, isn't it? There we go, perfect. So then lock that, select our text, bring that in. So let's say like this, camera Steve on frame 0. Let's go and make that a keyframe. And then by frame, well, let's just say 250 for now. At that point, we would like to move the camera forward, which is the Y direction, Y location. Is that? Yes, there we go. Like so, we're going to correct the X as well, so that that's kind of in the middle here. Aha! Boom! So that's what it'll look like. Could do. Let me correct that space here. That's just a little bit over to this direction here. And I think maybe if I keep it in line with that, maybe we can just go start a little bit later already. So start about kind of about here. So that's Y, isn't it? Yeah. So I'll just make that way more subtle, perhaps. I think I'm going to start here, or even later. It can just be even more subtle. Actually, it doesn't have to move quite that much. But while doing that, I think what I'd like to see is like a slight rotation in the camera, so that rather than it just goes straight like that, it just goes a little bit like that. What do you think? Just look at the text from the top a little bit, and that is, I believe, could it be the X rotation? I'll have to try. No, that's not it. Like that. That could be our starting position. What happened there? Was I not on the right camera? I guess I wasn't. There. Why did that happen? I don't know. That's crazy. Crazy, man, crazy. Because we want to look at this literally head on like this, right? Simple, subtle. I like it. I like it. So now maybe on this, I do like your camera actually better than what I have set up. I like the just keeping it straight. I think what we could do in addition to make this even more readable now is we could have a play with the backlight, because I think the backlight works. We need to worry about these things as well. So those are the two lights we can probably just at the beginning of this just move out a little bit, and then as the animation progresses just move them to where they are right now. And we can do the same with the backlight. So the backlight, I'm thinking at the last frame, could be in a different position. So that way we could move it into a way that lets us read the background better. Could even make it, we could dim it, we could change the intensity, something like that. I like it. I like it. I love collaborative work like this. This is good. Very nice. Indeed, Steve. Let's see what we could do with the last, with the backlight here. If I were to, currently we're not animating it. I'm going to try moving the Z position and see what that does. So that would give us this effect. That could be nice. So we could do something about that. I like for the shadows to be really intense, like this on the final frame. So I might just on the backlight just lock that in at frame 250, and then on the first frame, we could actually just leave it like that. No, actually on the first frame, let's try this. Let's put it here. It's subtle, but you know, it hasn't had the effect that I wanted it to have. So perhaps I'll just add another light that just comes on at this point. So let's see if I can make that happen. So I'm thinking I can probably just duplicate that and go move that, the other light actually. So I'm going to call that backlight end. Move that further up and then go and rotate that around the what is it, Y? No, rotate that around the X axis, just so that we get more of a light space here. And also then this, I suppose we're going to make that bigger, so we get softer shadows here. And perhaps even crank up the intensity just so that we get this background here. And I like for that to be wider, so this needs to happen further away too. So that's Y, isn't it? Yeah, so like that. It's almost there. I just like this radius here to be even further back. I don't know if I'm actually doing something that's not quite doable that way, or if I just go and put the light further above. So if I go make that higher and then rotate this around, is it Y? No, it's X. Like that. Yeah, we're kind of getting there. Do you know what I mean? Horizon line, just shift the horizon. I could actually do something even easier and tilt the bottom plane. That'll mess with the shadows. Let me try that. The bottom plane in its X rotation. As soon as I rotate that, all kinds of light changes without actually having to do much ourselves. But I can then, oh, that's a very nice idea. So we switch this light off and you're absolutely right. Yeah, and that's what we want ultimately. We want for this to be easier to read. So maybe not do much with it, but it's just make it. I don't know. I'm not entirely happy with either solution, my friends. I must say. Steve, when you say increase the text scramble effect, what do you mean? That could happen. That could happen. I mean, Brian, that's an idea. I mean, the easiest way to make this happen would just be to put another plane behind it. That might do something. Could even have that plane come up. That's another possibility. So let me just go make one. Another plane like that. We scale it up a bit, just as a test, and then we go and put that here. We'll see what that looks like. That's a black plane. Where's my other light? Oh, the backlight is now behind. Okay, fine. So, oops. Yeah, so this is here. Are the normals facing the right way? Yes. I think this is also, this is dark now. We can change the material on that. I was thinking that could be a wall that we can use with my other backlight here, which is now not quite in the right position, but I could now aim that at this back wall, and then we can create somewhat of a background. That might be a nice idea. So move that here, shine that against this, and then maybe even put that down. And then also, it doesn't have to be quite that, no, that's not it. That doesn't have to be that, that big, could just be like that. I'm thinking, maybe. And if we match that cleverly, then we have the horizon line that we're all, that we're all thinking about. That might be something. Is that X? It is X. Perfect. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure about the back plane. I think I might remove it again. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, but my thoughts are that when I move the plane to a certain distance, whoops, that way, then at this point it seems to kind of blend into the background because it's no longer illuminated. But at that point we don't actually need the plane anymore either. I don't think it helps. It's more like more of a hindrance almost, I'm thinking. I might just reposition the lights instead and just leave this back plane out, and then just see if I can put a different lighting effect at the end that makes this better readable. So if I'm thinking, if I go and if I were to remove this light at that point, then we can have a different light that makes this more readable. Let me try and do this with the end light, just so that it's, as soon as the shadows are gone, I might just go and put or we can just increase the intensity of the two front lights. That might be an idea. Instead of using this, I can just use the front light intensity and crank that up to, I don't know, 5,000. Might be a bit much. Yeah, but if we do this, if we just increase at that point the front light and then just dim down the back light, that might be nice. I like that. I like how you call it comfort break. So is that too much? Maybe 2000? Maybe 2000 is kind of easy. If we do 2000 there and then 2000 here, that'll be easy to read. And so the backlight, then we're going to go and just dim that out as the thing comes into vision, and then it just goes dims away. Let's do that. That's easy. That's easy. I like it. Let's do that. So we're going to leave. Let's do the front lights first. I'll leave the backlight off for now. So they were on 200 when we start our little journey through the 3D world here. So this one's 200 and that one's also 200. I'm sure there's a better way of connecting these two with a driver or whatnot. I just don't know how to do it. So I'll keyframe that here and there. And we're gonna, I'm gonna put the backlight on again. We're gonna leave that as it is until about frame 200, and then we're just gonna go and dim them over 50 frames, or like brighten them up over a period of time. So we're gonna keyframe this and that as well, so nothing changes during that duration. And then at frame 250, that's when we're going to go crank this up to 2000 and keyframe that. Same thing here. Oops. 2000. Keyframe that. Great. And at the same time, like at frame 200, we're going to go and use the backlight. So we're going to leave that at 1000 watts here, and it'll also be at 1000 watts here, so that will not change between here and there. But then from here to there, it will then just go and dim itself. And we can change the keyframes around so that we can maybe do this over a longer period of time. This hasn't quite worked, has it? So you are supposed to be 0 at that point. Oops. Yeah, so maybe on the front lights, we're just going to go and take this keyframe to, oops, no. Take this keyframe, put it to frame 300, and do the same here. So that the brightening up effect is just going to happen over a few more frames. Much like with the back, I might do that with the backlight as well. So backlight might just take this and start dimming the effect here already. Also, we don't have to make it 0 completely. We can just make it. Oh, there we go. That's nice. That might be nice. And this is a bit slow now, so we can run this faster. And then we just leave it on the last frame. That's neat, isn't it? Yeah, if we render that with the step of 1, so that's like at least twice the speed, and then we can leave it on the last frame. That should do the trick. Let's do it. Are we, what rendering engine are we in? Is this in Eevee? It's Eevee still. So Eevee's, that's doable rather quick. Let me render this out on, let me save this first. Version 3. And are we good with bloom? Is bloom going to make a difference here? No, not really. Ambient occlusion, doing it right now. Step. So if I render every other frame, that might be exciting. And output will go and go to our Blender files and text effects. No, that's not it. Reset Twitch. And I'll make another folder called render. And in it we'll have Twitch v1. Let's do that. And instead of PNG images, we'll just use a quick AVI, JPEG, quality 90%. Step 2, all frames. Let's do it. Render animation. It also doesn't necessarily need to be 1920 by 1080. That's just a bit of luxury. Let us scrambling run longer. Okay, yes, I agree with that. Let's do that, especially now that we have a very kind of slow pan. We can afford for this to run like 200 frames indeed. Yes, actually, let me switch that. Let me do that right now. So on the text, that's on the text effects thing again. If we wanted to run this from here to at least 200, how about that? 200 is kind of, yeah, let's do that. That's a cool idea. Until frame 200, boom, love it. And I'll drop down the resolution a little bit to we can do that 50%. That should be fine. Great minds think alike, indeed. So I'll go save this again and render animation. Much faster, much cooler, more scrambly text and all that. That's actually really nice, and we have something of a lead up to something happening, at which point the lights change, and at that point we reveal the whole text. That's actually, that's the way to do it, isn't it? And before that, it's just a bit of playing with 3D stuff, really. We could even, at the end, have the color of the text change if we wanted to. That'll be easy to do. If we find it would be nicer to end on something else. I don't know what the last remaining thing is. That could just be the last frame that hasn't rendered. I might put that keyframe before a little bit. Let's see what it looks like, my friends. And this, so there we go. All right. First reveal. So it could go even faster still. And I don't know what's going on with the back. I mean, that's probably the other light. That might be my my initial light that I had there. I also feel that the whole scene could be brightened up a little bit, but I might do that later in the post. I even feel that the two front lights could come in a little bit ahead of this, so that we make the front lights brighten up like here already, rather than here. You know, so make that, bring that forward. So dramatic. Let's make it happen for version 2. I love that we have real-time preview like this. I mean, it took literally no time to render the animation. That's very cool. Oh, here's one more thought. I'm just thinking out loud. Would it be cool, because we have the dramatic foreground, that we have the first frame of the camera, not the text to be here, but have the text further up, so that we have more at the front here, so that the text doesn't start in the middle of the screen, but starts kind of slightly like two-thirds, like two-thirds up or further up. That we have the nice shadow play in the foreground, and then we end on this in the middle of the screen. All these things we can try out. How exciting. Let's do all of these things. Can we remember them? First of all, the end backlight. Yeah, look at that. I've hidden it, but I haven't taken it out, so I don't think we need it anymore. I'll go and get rid of it. Backlight end. It doesn't want to go out. That's interesting. There we go. It's gone now. Good stuff. So let's go and save that first of all as a new version here. So that's number 4 now. Let's do the dimming of these lights. Let's make them come in a little bit beforehand. Yeah, perhaps even start here already. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start. So 120, frame 120. Let's do that. So this keyframe that gets moved to 120. That's that front light. Same with this front light. That keyframe gets moved to 120. So that will brighten up that a little bit earlier. Could even happen even earlier. Let's make it happen even earlier. Is this too early? Frame 60? Let's see. I think it'll be good. Let's do that, and then we get dimmed. Oh yeah, so then just to make sure there's no funny business at the end with the backlight, I'm going to move this to just maybe 10 frames earlier here, so that the backlight gets switched off a little bit earlier, so that we definitely end on this completely black screen here. That's nice. Now the camera position, camera Steve. Let me go select this, and we just move this. Oops. Excuse me. Look to the left. We do that. Just move that up a bit. Righty. There. Haha. So perhaps the only other thing I'd like to change is this harsh shadow here that we get from the backlight. Now we're cooking, absolutely. But that should be easy to do by just fiddling with the radius, maybe. Are we just 0, maybe a little bit too? Yeah, there we go. Literally give it anything more than that, and we're okay. Yeah, so literally a value is fine already. Perfect. Have we fixed this? We fixed it, haven't we? This is nice. So we also said make it. Did we? How's the letter animation? Is that running long enough, or do we need to run that longer? Letters are good, yeah, I think so too. Let's leave the letters as they are. I think just we could run this whole thing a little bit faster still. So I think what I'll do while we're rendering this, I'm going to go step 3. That'll increase it even more. Let's call this one version 2 and render it again. This should be done even faster. This is exciting, isn't it? I love it when we can do these things together. This is really cool. I'm really getting a kick out of it. And the more you try these new things, you just, you know, this is so much inspiration that I get from people making tutorials about bits and bobs. Like Chris Werner yesterday, he made, there's 2 parts to his thing. One was how to make a landscape with just a few modifiers, essentially a bit of a cloud texture and some modifiers that make it possible to grow a mountain. And then in another video he explained how to set up a height shader so that the higher the mountain grows, at the top snow, and then there's, like, you know, green hills, and then there's brown earth, and there's beach and water and all that. And I'm thinking that'd be ideal to animate that. He didn't animate this, but it's super easy to do, and it's just, you can just do all kinds of things, like a flat thing that just grows into a landscape. And as soon as I work out how to do it, we shall try this. Twitch version 2. Look at that. Now I wish it was longer. It is the correct duration. I think I like it this way. But I'm kind of wishing it were longer, if you know what I mean. And then we'll leave the last frame on there so that, you know, people get the URL. And I'm thinking this would be ideal together with the music of my Jay Plays outro, like the Halo beginning, like the really first, like, 4 seconds of the Halo beginning thing. Nice. I say, let me just render this in full resolution and see if I can't put music underneath it. That'd be kind of cool. And we see and hear the end result. Let's do it. So I'll do this in 100. I'll leave step 3. I might increase the frame rate just to 30. That just gives it a tiny bit, makes it a tiny bit longer. And I'll save that. It's just almost no change, but we'll save that and we'll call it version 3. And we'll save that again too. I'll just leave it as an AVI. We could render this out as an animation, like as still images, but let's do this. Thank you all. Like, thank you, well done to all of us. I think, you know, we all deserve a good round of applause, I think, for what we've achieved today. I think this is nice. Yes, and let's finish the whole thing, including audio. So let's do this in Premiere. I've kind of, the trailer that I want to use it in is more or less finished. I just need to drop that last thing in. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the audio when I do this. I hope so. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. Yeah, exactly. The audience goes wild. And then the light dims. Yeah. Okay, now I'm looking at the final frame here, and I think there's like a millimeter more space on the left than on the right, but I think let's not worry about that, shall we? Christina likes it, Rod likes it, Steve likes it, Brian likes it. This is good. We all like it. This is nice. That's awesome. 2 millimeters, yes. Yes, let's be honest here. It's 2 millimeters. So here's the full resolution thing. And then, of course, we'll leave like a second or so of the final frame. We could be really pedantic about this. Let's go pedantic. I can actually, I'm not making this up. On the stream, you won't be able to tell this, but because this is a JPEG video file, I can actually see some minor artifacts around the letters here. So I can see some meta blocking. I think I'm gonna, yeah, I can see this here as well. It's, let's correct the 2 mm, Christina. Let's move that slightly over, just a little bit over to the left. And then I'll render this again in a slight, in just less compression. And then we're good. Let's do this, let's do this. So let's do that first. That we're gonna use, not AVI JPEG, I'm just gonna use RAW for that. No compression. And I'll override this with 4. It's good enough for television. That's what we always used to say. Camera on Steve. So that's where the camera needs to be, on frame 250, and that's just where we're just going to nudge it up there. Camera selected, and I bet it's the X location here. Counting, was it 5 mm even, Christina? That's. I think this is where it's at. I know this. Sometimes you just, when you look at it again and again, and you think, no man, this is, while we're here, while we've put so much effort in it, let's make it absolutely perfect. Yes, I remember that as well. And it's, what is a millimeter even? It really depends on the monitor that we're looking at. But it's funny that we all think in these terms. It's not easy to be perfectionist. I can also see artifacts in the shadows. Shall we render this again with more pixels, or not pixels, with more ray bounces? I'm just kidding. Do you know what we haven't actually done now? We haven't used the Twitch purple. I've just realized. I mean, it looks okay this way, but we just discussed this earlier, that in cycles the purple actually looks different. The 16th of an inch. Ay caramba. Just for a laugh, what does this look like if we put this into cycles? Because then we have the Twitch purple. But I do like the pink much better. I think maybe we'll just leave it as it is in pink. Or we can make it, I do like the pink better as well. Look, the pink it is. There we go. Easy. Totally easy. That was it. Let's watch it one more time, and then we'll put some audio underneath it. Twitch Rev 4. Oh, it was already on repeat now. There we go. Yeah, so I can't see the artifacts anymore. The black looks better on the right. It's just, you know, when there's too much. And has the tweaking helped? Yeah, look at that. Well, it was, do you know, Joe, it's an interesting one. It was supposed to be purple, but because of the render engine that we're using, that purple, it's exactly, it's comes more out magenta. And now that we've been looking at it, I think we all like it that way. Cool. Let's put this in the trailer. All right, I think, thank you, Blender. You've been great. I'll close you down, buddy. And let's head over to Premiere in my super disorganized project. Do you think, oh my God, Steve, do we have to re-render it? If there's still like 0.5 millimeter. Can't deliver it like that. We can't. So my project that I've used here, look, for Christina's project, I've made a real project, but for things that I just cobble together that I just want to test out, I just use Untitled. And, you know, I really shouldn't do that, but I did. Audio setup issue, yeah, let's worry about that in a minute. In fact, let's worry about it now. audio hardware. Default input is that. Default output, yeah, it's not that, is it? It's is this? Actually, let me use this, and then you'll definitely be able to hear the audio, and then we can maybe even see this in context. Let's see if you can hear that. Can you hear that? I have a quick announcement for all of you who've been enjoying my live streams. You can hear that? Perfect. Oh, great. That's perfect. Groovy. So that's the trailer. So let's go and make, yes, do a bit of streaming video editing. That's kind of new, isn't it? I like it. So let's import that thing we just did. That's actually a great idea. Let me stream some video editing. Bet no one's thought of that before. Twitch, there's a render thing, and it's this version 4. Oh, thank you, Joe. Oh, there's an echo now? Are you saying there's an echo right now? Echo? I hope not. No, no echo. Perfect. Good stuff. But when I play the video, there's an echo. Is that what you're saying? In which case, let's try something else. This is something I've not really tried out either. I think it's because I'm putting that into that, and that captures that. Let's go and just use this, and we do that. Let's try again. Let me know if there's another echo now, or if you can hear it. I have a quick announcement for all of you who've been enjoying my echo. No echo, or can you hear it? Do you know 1 hour? It's like the planned 1 hour, and it goes down. Aha, perfect. And it goes down into like 2-3 minutes. There's still an echo there. Ah, man, that's a shame. Okay, no worries. Let's go and import, because I'm disorganized. I don't know where the Halo music is, of course, but I know where my outro is for J Plays, or do I? Man, where's that? Last time I saw it was on the desktop, and I've cleared out the desktop since then. Man, how do I get organized? I know I put it on Vimeo, so I could probably grab it from there. It's got to be on my hard drive somewhere. Could be in videos. Could that be? Do you want? Let's try another approach. Let's try searching on this PC. I think it was called something with outro. J Plays outro. This could be it. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. This is exactly what I need. Where is that? How do I get there now? Open file location. Awesome. So it's in final videos. Oh, great. Would have never thought about that. Oh my goodness. So we're just using the audio from that. Final videos. Where was that now? Here? Yes, there. That. Okay. So bad. So we have this Twitch version 1. I'm just going to go and make a new sequence from that clip. And then I'm going to go and drag that audio into here. But it wants to drag the video in as well, but that's fine. I'll just go and unlink those, take the video away, and then actually go into the editing thing as well, so we can see this. And then I'll just grab the last image here. I'll just go cut that off, and then that will just go and be that'll just be like I don't know, 2 seconds or something. And then we'll just take it from there, I guess. No, you don't want to do that. Man, make it 10 seconds then. There, perfect. You don't want to do that either? Yeah, you do. Thank you. Thank you so much. There. It could just be something like that. So yeah, an hour between friends, exactly. So if you hear this with an echo, then let me try and just render this out quickly. Let's give it a sensible title. Not there's an in the version. No. Oh, here, there we go. Let's give it a sensible title, not Twitch v several numbers. Let's call it Twitch outro there. And also let's spell it correctly. And now I'll just go and render this out, and then we can watch it over and over again. I love it. And then maybe then, if we're still up for something, I can render out the whole trailer and I can show it to you. Oh, there we go. Let's put it here. Let's do that. High bitrate is fine. Let's go export it. And then I can show you the whole trailer. Let me know what you think. That only takes 5 minutes. And that is how streams get 6, 8, 10 hours long. This is exactly how that happens, isn't it? Okay, world premiere. You see, the music isn't quite in sync with that. We would benefit from this sequence being longer now, because the dramaticness that needs to really line up with the thing when we dim the backlights and brighten the front lights. What do you think? I'm inclined to render it again and leave it slightly longer. Perhaps with the music, it could actually be quite a nice outro sequence. Let's do that, Christina. This is exactly my feeling. It's funny, when I saw it without the music, I was convinced, no, that was too slow. But now that I'm seeing it, I'm thinking, no, we need something more, because I really like that super dramatic music there. Let's do it. What's 10 more minutes between friends? Do you have any plans? Let's And it's super easy to do, really. It's only a matter of saying step 1, and then it's basically 3 times longer, and that'll probably be what we need. AVI raw, and this one we're going to call Twitch V5. Please do, Brian. That would be really nice. I'll go over save that just in case, and now we go render. So I know what Joe and Rod are going to do tomorrow. What is the rest of the Twitchverse going to do tomorrow? Let me know. Are you guys going to watch the Super Bowl, or do you have any other plans for Sunday? Oh, okay. Okay, Christina. In that case, let's say a prophylactic goodbye, just in case you won't make it until the end of the stream. Brian's made popcorn. Thank you so much. Look at that. Thank you. And we'll try and make the last 15 minutes as entertaining as possible, as Christina gently drifts away, wakes up tomorrow morning thinking, what was he talking about yesterday? Oh yeah, good idea. So Rod, that's the prophylactic plan right now. Get a webcam from Micro Center. Get OBS set up so that you can stream. It's very easy. It's basically the same as doing a screen record. You just press the stream button instead, and test your bandwidth. See what you can do in regards to bandwidth. and then put in your, if you're using Twitch, you can literally give OBS your credentials, and then OBS just magically connects. And it'll just go stream to your channel. It'll be awesome. Brian, very well said. Actually, Rod was the one who brought up the money spending thing. I'm just telling him what to spend it on. So I don't think, even together, I don't think we could keep him from spending money, you know. He's a retired gentleman. I like that. Light goes out. 5 more frames. 1 more frame. Boom. So cool. 1 frame takes less than a second to render. I love that. Let's just leave Blender open, shall we? And go take that away. Import the other thing, the render, and this is going to be version 5. All right, so that just goes up here. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. I can already see this is going to match up perfectly. So we'll take all the last frames look pretty much the same. So I'll just go grab these. No. Make the duration. There used to be a rate. Again. There used to be a rate stretch tool, but it's, I don't know, renamed, gone. I don't know what Adobe are doing. I'm just, this is the way I know how to do it. There was a rate stretch tool. It was used to press X and then you can rate stretch anything. But you know, it's just not working anymore. Perfect. So we'll go and render this thing out again. Outro 1. That's nice. Nondescript. And then we shall listen to it. Actually, the stadium is 20 miles up north. I don't know why Fox have put the whole broadcast thing here on Miami Beach, because the game isn't here. It's because they're, you know, because they like the sound of saying we're south of 5th, we're right next to ESPN's whatever morning talk radio show thing. And you think, shouldn't you be where the match actually happens? Wouldn't that be something? But no, that's Fox for you. It looks nicer, absolutely, and you get the crowd and everything. I was going to say it's almost perfect, but I think we need the crescendo to literally be when the letters have stopped building themselves. So here, that's where the letter animation needs to really finish. But I like the duration, it's nice. Hey, we're nearly there. We only need to do 1 more render pass, and then we're there, I promise, I promise. So since I don't have any other orientation, I believe the crescendo, as soon as we see the P, I think that's when the whole animation needs to have finished. So we can gauge that by that, I think. 1 more time. Yeah, so as soon as the P is finished, that's when we, actually the G and the U. Yeah, when the G and the U are finished, that's, so we're not going to shorten it by that much, but that's our point of orientation. As soon as the G and the U are there, that's our last frame. Okay. That's the P, that's the G, that's the U. Let's call it Frame 175. Okay, nice. Select the text effects. Instead of 200, it'll be 175. Let's call this version 6. Oversave everything. Render animation. Woohoo! No problem. Sometimes with these meds, it just happens so fast. So thanks for hanging in there, Christina. It's always lovely having you. Have a good night. And you'll see this thing in context tomorrow when the trailer goes live. Or over the weekend or something like that. I might postpone it until the beginning of next week, so that when people see it during the day and they're excited to tune in, they know where to go, basically. So I might release it on Wednesday morning or something along those lines. And we're nearly finished, folks. We're nearly finished. I must say, though, I do enjoy the whole multimedia production. So a little bit of Blender, a little bit of editing. Maybe we'll do a little bit of web design next. Who knows? It's nice. I enjoy doing all of these things together with you, because those are all the challenges that we have to do on a daily basis. That's what it is, isn't it? Indeed. Maybe we have to have a. Yeah, I think the title is still valid, isn't it? For even when we involve editing things, that should still. 3D Shenanigans is still good, right? I mean, we could also do a spin-off 2D Shenanigans. That'd be nice. Use a 2D animation intro there. Or we just shorten it to Shenanigans. Also not bad. I felt reminded when I was watching the earlier streams this morning about how that cinema thing came together. That was nice. That was a really long journey, and it took so many episodes to get that right. That's taken already, isn't it? Cool and the gang. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another project like that, and maybe even do this with Octane. That'd be nice. I think maybe one of the stonemason scenes, perhaps we can use that and have Octane convert that. Like, can you imagine? You can use one of the big city scenes. What's it called again? Urban Sprawl 2, I believe. 2 and 3. 3 was the biggest one. And that was almost like a whole game set. And I'm thinking that came with 3D light materials. It'd be very cool to have Octane take care of it and go, yeah, let's render this with Octane. Okay, here we go. For the final take, my friends. He says, version 6. Version 6. I can keep this, actually. I don't need to worry about that. That's kind of cool. I will just use that as the last thing. Put that here, because that is that was the same. Ripple delete. He says, yes, actually, look at that. It's exactly the same. Okay. I think this is going to work marvelously. Export. Oh, I saw the post. Yeah, I must watch that. There was another one that Marcos posted yesterday that is about how to put HDRI stuff into Octane. That is also very exciting. I'm hoping. I haven't had the time to watch that yet either. That's also, by the way, that's kind of cool. All the chat messages that we generate, they still go into the chat channel on Discord. So if any links are there that we want to drag out there, they're all in there. One of the big advantages of Discord. you know what I'm going to say. The animation needs to finish 10 frames earlier, right? You can see that, right? Quite obviously. The R and the U, they're still wiggling around. It just needs to finish 10 frames earlier. 15 even. This is when the whole thing needs to be there quite clearly. We're 15 frames too short. Julia says it's fine. I think we can wing it. I think there's something I may be able to wing in Premiere. If ever I find the rate stretch tool, then I'll just have to just make this a little bit shorter here. How do you use the rate stretch tool? Is this the rate stretch tool? It's a slip tool, it's now called, right? That's the one. No, it's not. It's not, is it? It's context sensitive. No, it's not. Is it this one? Ripple rate stretch. So they still have it. They still have it. Perfect. Yes. So to about. I'm just winging it now. It's literally just. I'll say 15 frames. We'll do that. And then this can go to about here. There. You'll thank me later. It's true though, keyboards tend to do that, and mobile phones even worse than keyboards like that, but especially on my Mac, I do find things get randomized, especially when you type something that autocorrect wants to correct, and you say, no, please don't correct it, it's correct this way, and it goes and corrects it again the moment you hit return. It does that, it totally does that. Could this be the final version, folks? See, 15 frames, I'm telling you, it probably was like more than 18. 20 would have probably worked the best, but it's easy to do. Watch it. 5 more frames, I'm telling you, this is going to be the magic. Okay, Jace lost it officially. Have you lost it, man? 5 more frames. Okay, 6. I'm telling you, it's 5 frames. Export for the final version. I also think that autocorrect is probably the death of our society. I mean, how far away are we from accidentally sending a message that we didn't mean to send in like whatever autocorrected way, and it goes to a customer? So I communicate with my customers in the supermarket always via text, and they have the same problem. They're on a phone and they send me stuff that they say products that don't exist, but they give it meaning as if, you know, something rude's coming out. It is the death of our society. Watch this, watch this. 5 frames on the nose, I'm saying. Finally. That's it. Those were the 5 frames. Okay, enough of that. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate your patience over the last hour. In fact, over the last 2 hours. But we got there in the end, and I think, you know, we did a marvelous job. I'm going to go and finish editing this this trailer. It's okay. You don't have to watch that. It would have just been a drop in and then a render out. But yes, I'll release that trailer soon. And that's it. So tomorrow I'm working. I might be back earlier than Wednesday. I might be. Time flies when you're having fun. That's right. I might be back earlier than Wednesday. So Wednesday. Whoops. Sorry. Just messing with the trying to frame my monitor out here, because this is the monitor that you can see here on the bottom left. Probably doesn't matter. Yeah, Rod. That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. TNA stream. If you want any advice on how to set this up, let's hook up via email or via Discord, and you know, we get this sorted. I'll be back Wednesday for sure, perhaps even Tuesday. Watch the Discord, watch the Twitter, watch the Facebook for notifications as to what happens when, and I will see you anon. Have a good Super Bowl, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.